Baul Sangit Songs of the Madman by Sri Chand Baul, Bhaktivinoda Thakura, 1893. Translation and notes by Dasaratha Sudha Dasa. Introduction. Baul Sangit, Songs of the Madman, an obscure work composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura in 1893, is a collection of 12 songs in Bengali verse. Bhaktivinoda saw that the Indian society at that time had become overrun with many different types of pretentious so-called Vaisnavas. He identified 13 deviant sects: Wal, Baul, Kurtabaja, Nada, Dharavisa, Sani, Sahajiya, Sakabheki, Smarta, Yadagasani, Atavadi, Katadari, and Goranganagari. Since ordinary village people are not sufficiently educated or philosophically inclined to distinguish between these various Apasampraday groups, most of these deviants simply came to be known collectively as Baul, transcendental madmen. The title Baul comes from the Bengali bachala, mad, crazy, insane, and originates in the Sanskrit vachala, an adjective indicating one affected by wind disease, or a disturbance of the element vata within the head. As used in the Gaudiya Vaisnava scriptures, this term indicates the exalted state of a pure devotee who has gone mad while experiencing vipralamba, or separation from their beloved Lord Krishna. The usual habit of members of these Baul groups is to wander around the countryside as folk minstrels, singing bogus songs about so-called love of Godhead, bhava, while begging alms. The Thakura recognized them as false devotees, and he wrote these 12 songs styled Baul Surajit so that the public could learn to distinguish between false balls and real balls. The language and dialect of these songs is just like the common street talk of the period, and Bhaktivinoda even signed the songs Chand Baul. He assumed a Baul name so people would accept his preaching. These pieces describe the various forms of cheating balls, exposing their deceptive hypocrisy, and finally proposing the correct way for devotees to become purified from the deviations of materialistic tendencies. Thus he ultimately recommends the faithful chanting of Harinama and worshipping Lord Krishna according to authorized devotional principles. Baul Sangit contains very useful spiritual advice, the many corrupted spellings of various words being accurate portrayals of the down-to-earth language of the time. The Thakura has written these songs in the voice and style of popular street songs, thus proving attractive for simple village workers, farmers, shopkeepers, boatmen, ordinary illiterate people, and even for the benefit of aristocratic and educated people who were learned in the ways of the West. Although the contemporary Baul songs that were heard sung in the marketplace superficially spoke of devotional service, bhakti, and transcendental madness caused by ecstatic love of God, bachalata, they were in actuality covered over by the philosophy of material enjoyment, sambhogavada, as well as various shades of impersonalism, nirvisesavada. The mentality of the Bauls was pervaded by Sufi influences and also the popular ancient songs of Kabir and Dadu. Thus even the literary scholars became bewildered by the illusion created by this perverted philosophical covering, and they also subscribed to the sense-gratifying Sambhogavada. For this reason Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura was inspired to expose the pretentious and hypocritical nature of the Bauls by attracting the masses with the songs of his own composition, which utilized the contemporary style, mood, vocabulary and tune of the mundane Baul Sangit. In the concluding verse of each song, Bhaktivinoda has identified himself as Chand Baul, for amongst the Bauls the name Chand is very popular. Within the text of the songs Bhaktivinoda is also seen to use various Baul philosophical terms, such as Dihatattva, the principle of the entire universe supposedly being present in the material body, Guru Satya, the spiritual master is the only supreme truth, Marka, spiritually emblazoned, Manirmala, the japa strand within the mind, Manasa Bhajan, worship of human bodies as God, Sahanja Bhajan, natural worship, and so forth. The Thakura repeated all these words in order to appeal to those whose minds were absorbed in ordinary village activities, and thereby enlighten them in regard to the transcendental spiritual world. Bhaktivinoda was genuinely bachala, madden, by the Sudha Bhakti Rasa of devotion to the moon like Srinitai Chand or Sri Gorakand. For this reason he signed his writings with the name Sri Chand Baul. The word Baul is seen often in the text of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, referring to a personality afflicted with transcendental madness. Sti Gauranga Mahaprabhu even admits in Antya 19.9 that he has indeed become a Baul. A few verses later, 19.2021, the most famous appearance of the word Baul occurs in the following enigmatic riddle sent from Sri Advaita-acharya in Bengal to the increasingly ecstatic and delirious Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Tell the madman that all the people have now become mad like him. Tell the madman that rice is no longer available in the marketplace. Tell the madman that those who are mad in ecstatic love no longer do business. Tell the madman that another madman has spoken these words. Dasaratha Sudha Dasa Baul Sangit Song 1. I am your ever well-wisher, I become sad when you are sad. and I become happy when you are happy. This I sincerely proclaim to you, dear brothers. Having gone shopping at Lord Nityananda's marketplace, O brothers, I have brought back the holy names of the Lord just for your benefit. 2. Being marked with the symbol of Lord Gaurachandra, this Harinama is succulent with divine mellows. If you would please take the holy name and always fill your mouths with it, then you shall realize that the name fully contains the Lord who is named. 3. By chanting the holy name all your sinful reactions and material miseries will be cast far away. This world will become full of wonderful meaning for you, there will be no more fear, and you will be immersed in the ocean of pure joy. 4. I myself am now quite wretched and indeed destitute, for by arranging to bring the Lord's holy name here I have fallen into great debt. Seeing me as a soul stricken with extreme poverty, please hand over to me the price of your faith. 5. Taking your payment, O brothers, I will pass it along to the Mahayana, the proprietor, Lord Nityananda. Whatever small commission I may earn by conducting this transaction will be kept in my own storeroom. 6. Living on the island of Gadram in the district of Nadia, this person named Chand Baul shouts and exclaims, other than the holy name of the Lord, all else in this world is simply false, like the illusions of a shadow theater. 1. O my dear brothers! Just pass your lives by adhering to the proper path of religiosity. Constantly chant Hari Nama, O brothers, for other than Lord Hari you have no friend. 2. Accepting whatever livelihood that suits you, just live your life honestly. Fill your mouths with the constant chanting of Hari. Hari. This is the only alms I beg of you. 3. Remain absorbed in the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, renounce all other ambitions, and worship Virgendranandan. 4. If you would do this much, then I will experience great pleasure. 4. Iam Chand Baul Das, and I wish only to receive your mercy. I have informed you of my desires, for I sing as I have been personally ordered by Lord Nityananda. Song 3:1. Oh, you have so much to say about being genuine. You are seen to be wrapped in an old tattered blanket and wearing a simple loincloth, just like a renounced ascetic, but in actuality all of this is simply pretentious. 2. Leaving your legally married wife at home, you go off and keep the company of the wives of others. In your grief for acquiring more and more wealth, you wander like a poor beggar from door to door, and you secretly keep so much surplus stored away. 3. You are quite confident in presenting yourself as a saintly spiritual master, and thus you are busily engaged in initiating innocent people by reciting Krishna Nama into their ear. Is this behavior not a great charade? 4. Can anyone be called a guru simply because he gives advice to others? A cook can never use whey in a recipe that calls for milk. Now think about this and just see what I see. 5. On the strength of the true qualities of peacefulness, sense control, and tolerance, one's mundane desires are renounced as true spiritual faith arises. That being the case, the renunciant Chand Baul says, what will become of your premature imitation of spiritual perfection? Song 4:1. Everyone keeps using the word Baul. Baul is a cheap label, but who has actually become a Baul, a pure devotee gone mad in genuine ecstatic love of God? By merely exhibiting a long beard and a top knot upon your head, O brothers, you thus cheat many people. 2. Your philosophy of Dhatattva 5, that the material body is supposedly divine, is simply a philosophy of dull matter, Jadatattva. By maintaining such a doctrine is it possible to become freed from the womb of Maya? The supreme goal of life is the attainment of eternally conscious bliss, Chidananda. Although you understand this well, you will still be unable to enter transcendence. 3. Oh! If you really want to become a genuine Baul, a transcendental madman, then please proceed on the path of religiosity. Oh! Just abandon in all ways the mind's craving for the inappropriate company of women. 4. Oh! Abandoning the performance of adorning yourself with dramatic clothing and ornaments in imitation of Lord Krishna, may you become attached to chanting his pure holy names. May you become the loyal follower of Nitai Shanda, thereby renouncing all evil obsessions. 5. Oh my dear brothers! Completely giving up your clever manipulative speech, just fill your mouths with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Chand Baul sees no means of support other than the abundant resource of the Lord's holy name. Song 5:1. Oh my dear brothers! You devotedly engage in the worship of the material bodies of human beings, and yet you dare to sing songs about ecstatic spiritual emotions, bhava. You expertly conceal your own secret activities, but all of them will be fully exposed in Yamaraja's court. 2. Considering women to be hermaphrodites and men to be eunuchs makes one a member of the Kurta Bhaja sect. On the pretext of this deviant thinking you engage in mundane sense gratification, thus deluding even your own minds. 3. Although your mouths proclaim the Guru's reality, O brothers, You revel in mundane sense pleasures. 6 You freely associate with envious non-devotees, how then will you ever become purified? 4. The heart of the Jiva becomes greatly agitated by absorption in the association of materialistic women as well as greed for wealth. Does a true Baul become attracted by the glitter of these worldly things? 7 A cricket is attracted by a flame and jumps straight into it, thereby meeting death. 5. Chand Baul very humbly suggests, giving up all these degrading things, please chant the name of Hari in a purified manner. Then you will surely cross beyond the ocean of material suffering. Song 6-1. Here is just another disciple of Kali Yuga. He keeps his head shaved, wears a loincloth, tilak on his nose and tulasi beads around his neck. 2. By looks he appears to be a Vaisnava, but in actuality his conduct is that of a Dalaracta, one who worships the principle of material energy in order to enjoy her. He engages in Sahaja Bhajan, so-called natural worship, but does so by posing as uncle to the children of others, and then stealthily taking the illicit association of their daughters. 3. Accepting these young girls as Sakhis, Radha's gopi friends, he fancies himself to be the son of Nanda. By the deceptive lecturing about how everyone should become Krishna Dasa, the servant of himself as Krishna, this disciple of Kali Yuga thus hurls a sharp spear at the true devotees of the Lord. 8-4, Giving artificial recognition to Navarasika, the 9 relishers, he thus eats and enjoys the bananas of his own mental fabrications. Chand Baul says, "Oh my dear brothers! Desist from this bogus imitation of the Lord's amorous sports." 9 Song 7-1, Oh my dear mind! Please be alert and cautious, do not forget the treasure that is the principle of Sutta Sahaja Tattva, pure natural truth as opposed to bogus Sahajiya tendency. Otherwise ultimately in the grip of Maya you will perpetually weep. 2. The pure spirit soul is not material, oh brother, understand this correctly, but is actually a female Saki living in Vrindavana. When the soul worships her Lord Krishna Kandra in this mood, then she becomes immersed in pure happiness, incessantly tasting the sweetness of the Madhura Rasa. 3. While still living within the material body, she engages in sadhana bhakti, regulated devotional service, developing detachment through the cultivation of jnana, transcendental knowledge, and thus passes life in accordance with religious principles. Such a devotee lives either at home or in the forest, and remains engrossed in calling out the name Krishna with single-minded diligence. 4. Verily this is called Sahaja Bhajan, or natural worship. It is conducted with a purified mind, and is the one and only means for attaining Krishna. Whoever deviates from this process by imposing their own concocted philosophy indeed perishes, their activities are not bhajan. 5. This is the conviction of Chand Baul. The devotee of Lord Chaitanya named Chota Hari Dasa somehow embarked on an improper path. By the mercy of the son of Mother Sasi, he was cast away, alas, and did not again attain the lotus feet of Gauranga. 10 Song 8-1, My dear mind, when you chant japa on the mala within your mind, why do you cease the actions of chanting japa externally? When one performs bhajan within the mind, and prima factually rises internally, then the external body also becomes pervaded by those symptoms. Therefore the body rocks and sways, while one incessantly turns their beads in chanting japa. 2. This improper form of mental chanting is the tendency of the pretentious so-called renunciants. As displayed in the fables of the crane and cat, such renunciation is extremely contemptible. 11 Although such a trait is shown externally, whenever one gains an opportunity to enjoy women and wealth he continually indulges. 3. Inside such a man is merely an empty cavity of deceit. What does he have to express other than direct blasphemy of the process of executing external sadhana bhakti? He thus makes a show of his own mental concoctions as being supposedly superior while he openly condemns the activities of the true sadhus. 4. Oh dear brother! Purify yourself both internally and externally. Stay engaged in chanting Hari Nama, instead of simply babbling stubbornly with controversial attitudes. When you pass your life consumed with dry arguments, then Chand Baul becomes very sad. Song 9-1, Oh my dear mind! May you become a transcendentally maddened Baul while remaining at home. Why do you engage in wicked activities? 2. You may keep the mood of a Baul within your mind, and giving up improper association you will automatically obtain sense pleasures in accordance with religious principles. Thus you will pass your life while every moment experiencing the bliss of Harinama. 3. One who renounces his home while his heart is not yet purified is called a Markata Vairagi, monkey-like renunciant. 12 By the heart being full of offenses, acting under the control of the enemy, one sinks lower and lower at every step. 4. A renunciant immature in renunciation is one who swindles the wives of others and thus remains just like a fat monkey in charge of a harem of female monkeys. Furthermore, such a person goes from door to door out of greed to receive monetary donations. Thus he engages in the so-called worship of even fallen and degraded souls. 5. May your own mind become ripened with maturity while remaining at home. And just perform Harinama Sankirtan each and every day. Then, in Chand Baul's company, you shall utterly renounce the material world. Song 10:1, you call yourself a very great and venerable renunciant, but factually you are even more of a sense gratifier than those who are still householders. Furthermore, you wear a loincloth for show, and carry tulasi beads in your hand, but like a beast of burden, you bear the load of trying to seduce various women into rendering your own services. Savadasis. 13:2, you beg alms everywhere you go, proudly advertising yourself as belonging to the disciplic lineage of the infallible Lord Krishna. Asayuta Gotra 14. But in your show of deep meditation you simply concentrate on repeatedly calculating the total amount of your acquired rupees and milk. You are expert at begging on behalf of your belly, and you make a hoax of giving spiritual instructions to others, ultimately exhibiting the behavior of a businessman. You are a voracious glutton, accustomed to consuming huge quantities of food. 3. Unto those of such nature, Chand Baul advises, this is the noose about your neck. Quickly cast afar these offenses unto other souls. Worship the Lord in the honest role of a householder, executing your proper occupational duty according to your own ability, and thus purify yourself internally. 4. Giving up your desire for being honored as a sannyasi, just worship Krishna in a humble state of mind. By performing your religious occupational duties according to your own natural propensity, the seedlings of your vices will be destroyed. Then you will attain Krishna, your unhappiness will go away, and you will become very intelligent. Song 11:1. Why do you have so much desire for changing clothes? By prematurely changing clothes from those of a householder to those of a renunciant, all is destroyed. 15 Only when one's consciousness is first purified, then the intelligence perceives transcendental truth, and finally the change of clothes will automatically come and be manifest in its time. 2. But when one makes an artificial endeavor to put on the clothes of an ascetic, then ultimately one perishes in the fever of that improper dress. Thus one becomes known as a member of the sect called Nada Niti, going about the town begging alms, and living at the meeting place called Acharya. 16 Such a worthless person, just like a pumpkin grown uselessly at an unsuitable time of year, finally destroys everything that would be good for their own soul. 17.3 The great sages Sukadeva Goswami, Narada Muni, and the four Kumaras are truly qualified to wear the dress of renunciants. One may desire to wear a dress similar to theirs as soon as one becomes as renounced as they are. Tell me, who can develop the intelligence and purified heart of these great sages merely by wearing a particular garment? Plus, in full knowledge of what is the soul and what is not of the soul, wearing the dress of a renunciant within your heart, just make your creeper a prima bloom by sprinkling it with the rainfall of bhajan sadhana. Chand Baul says, when this occurs, then you will actually become Lord Krishna's servant. Song 12:1 My dear mind, you have brought unending trouble upon yourself under the sway of material sense gratification. Leaving the company of Radhasyama and Vrayadama, you have come to this material world and suffered a host of painful miseries. 2. Trapped within the prison house of Maya Devi, and tossed helplessly according to the urges of your past karma, your life has come to an end after slaving away at very difficult and mundane labor. Absorbed in the material body, thinking in terms of I and mine, you experience only attraction and repulsion for dull material things. 3. You are actually composed of spiritually conscious bliss, whose only happiness is found in Krishna Seva. Alas, you have fallen into the hands of the five material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and have thus become just like an ignorant sheep who is helpless within their firm grip. But now your ultimate means of deliverance is to be found in the company of sadhus, discussing topics of the eternally conscious nature. 4. The association of materialistic women, as well as endeavors for accumulating wealth for the purpose of sense gratification. Oh my dear brother! Give up such insignificant play. Please accept the pure advice of Chand Baul, rejecting all deceptive tendencies that are associated with the sex of impure balls, just enter the flow of pure, spiritual mellows of devotion. Thus ends Baul Sangit by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura.